I'm going to show you how to make a dust boot for your CNC for under 10 bucks. I think you're going to be shocked at how simple it is. And it all starts with using a pool noodle. You can get these for about $1.50. You're going to need to cut off about 6 inches of this. I'm going to go ahead and snip it, and you want to try to keep it as flat as you can when you do it. That's how much pool noodle you're actually going to need. The next thing you're going to need, a couple 90-degree, 3/4 inch connectors. You can get these at the big box store. This is for sprinkler pipe. These are about 80 cents a piece. We're $1.60 plus maybe $1.50, so we're $3.10. Then you're going to need a piece of 3/4 inch PVC pipe, 24 inch. You can buy these pre-cut, and they're about $3. We're up to around $6-ish. The next thing you're going to need is you're going to either need some 1/4 inch threaded bolt. If you built the gantry that I suggested, you've already got the threaded inserts in there. I used 1.5 inch long, but this will also work with 1 inch long, 1/4 inch 20 thread. Or if you don't already have threaded inserts in your CNC, this is an alternative. This is about $2 for 5 of these clamps. You don't find these usually in the sprinkler section. You find them in the conduit section. These are 3/4 inch hold downs for conduit. Essentially what I've done with the bolts here, you can just put this on here, and then you could use a couple screws and mount it to your CNC. It's just a suggestion if you want to go that route. What in the world are we going to do to make a dust collector for well under 10 bucks? These are 35 millimeters across, and it just so happens that if you put these 1/4 inch bolts in, the heads of them will just come in and they will pin this PVC pipe down solid. And so this is extremely solid right now. The next thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to eventually hook our vacuum up to it. I've got a Festool vacuum, but you can do the same trick. You might need a little duct tape or a slight change of fittings, but it turns out with my Festool, with the connector that I've got on here, that the fitting for a 3/4 inch piece of PVC pipe will work perfectly. And I'm going to go ahead and just take a little piece I cut off of this 3/4 inch and put it on here. It just gives a little bit more grab and gets the airflow down in there further, and just put it on there like so. And this will go and it will mount up on top of here. You can leave this loose fit for right now. The next thing is we're going to need a way to hook on our pool noodle. And so I've got another one of these connectors. They do make these connectors so that they're at either 90 degrees or 45. You could do a 45 and actually have your pool noodle coming down this way. That would work just fine, and then you just would change the way you trim it. But I'm going to do it at a 90 so you can kind of see the process. And to get more hold, I put a little piece 2 inches long of sprinkler pipe, and that way if you want to put something like a ring clamp on here to absolutely make it so this thing can't come off, you can. And I'm just going to slip my pool noodle on here. Now I'm going to go and I'm going to slip it up on my fitting like so. And you want to have it so that whatever length of extra pipe in there, it's short of length from your collet. So then we're going to use this to actually line this up. And I'm just scooting this whole setup down. I'm going to scoot it over here. And then we have to make a decision. There's a couple ways you can do this. One way you can do it is literally just twist it, line it straight up, put your bit straight down through this whole setup so it's perfectly aligned in the center, and then, you know, cut out a little circle on both sides. Or the other way, which is what I'm going to show you, is to line it up again so you know exactly where that bit is, and then I'm going to cut the front side of this out so that it will clear the collet, so we don't have to worry about that hitting our piece of pool noodle. And literally you're just going to clip away a little window, inside. And we want to go all the way down here. Something like that. And once you kind of have an initially thing, you can go ahead and pull this off. Just hand tear it out. And let's trim this up so it looks a little more presentable. Okay. So there's our window. That's where our dust is going to be going through. And you go, well, that's not going to work because it's not thing. Well, here's the catch. What we're going to really do is we're going to rotate this, and we're going to have it so the cutting bit of this is going to be out in front, and then you have the window that you've rotated slightly on the bottom, and we can get it as close as possible without actually hitting that collet nut. And so you can kind of adjust it, and depending upon the depth of your cut, you can adjust this. And now you go, well, there's still a hole in this. Well, to fix that, you could either put a piece of tape, like duct tape, if you want to save some money, or if you want, you can spend another $1, $1.50, and this is a little plug that's closed for PVC 3/4 inch, and that will fit down in there and close it. Okay, so we've got that down in there now, and you could go a little more if you want. And now we're going to slip this whole contraption back on here. You could put a piece of tape to hold this more firmly so that there's not a chance of this, and we're going to rotate it. I'm going to adjust it so it's not hitting anything. We can slide this up. And here's one of the big things that I learned from my first dust collector. It is super nice to be able to actually see when the world's going on and to get in and change your bit. And the problem with my old one with all the brushes and stuff is I could never really see what was going on. And the second thing is, it was such a pain every time I had to change a bit out because I had to take the whole thing off, remount it. This design will allow you to rotate this right out of the way, or you can even pull it off if you don't put a clamp on here. Super, super easy. If this ever does hit, it's not going to be hard to replace. And now let me just demonstrate. For video purposes to start with, I'm just going to show you that with some little bits of foam, that the amount of suction we get on this is surprisingly significant. If you wanted to, if you're convinced that you need brushes, you could definitely go ahead and fix on some brushes on here if you want to close this off. But personally, I would give this a try first. Is this a perfect dust collection solution? Definitely not. But is it good? Yes. I would say for most applications, this will probably get 80 to 90% of the dust, depending upon how you cut your opening and what bit you're using. That's not bad. Most of the dust that's escaping is coming right off the front. Can you improve this design? 100%. With very, very little modification, you could definitely enclose the front side of this, and that would probably increase your dust collection by another 5 or 10%. If you want to go buy a paintbrush and cut it up and hot glue on some bristles, you can definitely increase the section of this as well. There's lots of mods. You guys are really, really clever. If you're a 3D printing enthusiast, taking what we have right here, it's very, very easy. You got a very small print to model onto to completely encase this. I like this one personally because it will swing out of the way. That means I can zero my bit, I can change my bit. Hope you enjoy this video. I'll see you in the next one.